Today's story takes us to Thailand, near the city of Khon Kaen. At the intersection near the gas station, people noticed a small brown and white dog that came to the same place every day. It was weird. At first, he seemed like a well-cared-for dog. It was not too thin and clean. At first, none of the people passing by could guess what secret the dog was actually keeping. The animal stayed in place for a long time and did not seem to be going home. Then some people started watching the dog. And they noticed that he was gradually losing weight and getting weaker. He also apparently suffered from a skin condition that caused his hair to fall out. The poor dog was in a terrible state. Many helpful people in the area were determined to help the dog, and some were even willing to give her a new home. They all started calling the dog Leo and took care of him together. A woman named Seovilak saw that Leo was getting worse every day and the condition of his skin was clearly causing him pain. The woman could not watch the dog slowly die, and was determined to help him. One day, on her way to work, she drove through an intersection and saw a suffering dog that could barely stand. She stopped, plucked up the courage and took him home with her. She took care of his skin, washed him with a special shampoo and combed his hair. Then she let him rest in her house and made sure that he fed something delicious. Soon Leo was clearly feeling better. The Seovilak has an increasingly strong bond with the dog. But one day, when she returned home, Leo disappeared. She searched desperately for him, but to no avail. Leo was gone. Then she remembered something. As fast as she could, Seovilak ran back to the intersection where she first found Leo. And indeed, he was there. Leo stayed with her as long as he needed to get back on his feet, but then returned to the intersection. But what made this place so special? Why did he keep going back there? After careful consideration, Seovilak decided that he knew the answer. She suspected Leo was waiting for his family. She may have lost it at this intersection, or even intentionally abandoned it. Did he keep returning to this place in the hope that they would eventually find him? It was the only thing that made sense to her. It broke her heart to think of Leo, who was waiting hopefully for his family to return. If they wanted to go back to him, they probably have already done so. The next time, Seovilak drove him home several more times, but each time he ran away and waited again at the intersection in question. Eventually she came to terms with the fact that Leo wanted to stay there and wait. But that didn't mean Seovilak wouldn't take care of him. From then on, she brought him something to eat every day. She sat next to him and even combed his hair so that it would not tangle again and so that his skin would remain healthy. It wasn't the same as taking him home and loving him, but at least he could be taken care of. Many people were fascinated by the dog that stayed at the intersection. Some visited the puppy regularly, and some even helped feed him. He was such a loving dog who enjoyed all the attention he received. Another useful woman Leo met was Anichit Unsharowan. She also saw Leo's predicament and tried to think of ways she could help him. For 4 long years Leo sat at the crossroads and waited for his master to return home. It was a sad sight. Then Anichit had an idea how she could help Leo. She had a lot of photos of the dog, so she took them and took advantage of the internet. Raise awareness about Leo on social media. She wrote a post about a sad dog who stubbornly lives on the street. She hoped that this post would somehow find the family he had lost and lead to a special reunion. However, she never expected that this post would cause such a stir. Many people were touched and determined to help the dog find its original owners. They shared the publication on their pages, and it even spread around the world. Many people around the world showed interest in this story and were concerned about Leo's future. One of them was Nong Noi Siddhisarn. She was a 64-year-old woman from Roi Et province in Thailand. She was shocked when she saw Leo's photos. The dog in the photos looked very similar to her beloved dog Bonbon. She lost her dog 4 years ago while traveling with her husband after she ran away while walking near Khon Kaen and never returned. He disappeared and the family was heartbroken. Within a week, they returned to the area and searched the streets where they had lost him. But there was no trace of him. With a heavy heart, they finally had to admit that they would probably never see their dog Bonbon again. He probably had an accident or someone else found the dog and kept it for himself. The couple are still unsure about the fate of the dog. However, at some point they lost hope of ever seeing the dog again. But when they saw Leo's photos 4 years later, they were sure it was Bonbon. He had been waiting for them for so long, and now they were finally able to see him again. They couldn't believe their luck. They contacted Anichit Unsharowan and showed her some photos of Bonbon they had. Leo was clearly the same dog, and Anichit agreed. They agreed that Nong Noi and her family would come and see Leo in person. Anichit made sure that Seovilak could say goodbye to the animal if the family decided to take him home. After all, the woman has been looking after Leo for the last 4 years. Finally, the moment that everyone had been waiting for came. The family came to the intersection. Seovilak and Anichit were already there, Leo lying in the shade next to them. Then Nong Noi and her family got out of the car and called the dog. When Bonbon heard his name, he looked up. What happened next is simply unbelievable and can hardly be put into words. He got up and ran to his old family. He wagged his whole body, not just his tail. It was obvious that the dog was incredibly happy to see his beloved people again. He had been waiting for her for 4 long years. He seemed to have been worried about her all these years. Now they were reunited, and he could see that everything was fine in his family. But at that moment, the story took an unexpected turn. The family thanked Seovilak for taking care of Bonbon, and it was time to say goodbye. Seovilak hugged Bonbon with tears in his eyes. She loved him so much. Then the family called him to get in the car. At that moment, an incredible thing happened. Bonbon refused to go to them. They tried to pick him up, but he ran away from them and continued to sit next to Seovilak. They all understood what the dog was trying to tell them. It looks like he's decided to stay with the woman who's been taking care of him for the last 4 years. He just wanted to know that his family was okay, but now he wanted to stay with his girlfriend. The family respected Bonbon's decision and allowed him to stay with Seovilak. Now they often come to visit and even offer to pay the bills for the vet. But it was clear that this was no longer her dog. Since then, Bonbon has lived with Seovilak and never ran away again. If this story touched you as much as it touched us, you should watch this video. The crying bear begged the man for help. What happened next is incredible. Click here to get the full story.